Efforts to secure a ceasefire in Gaza before the start of Ramadan have stalled. War and hunger are overshadowing the eve of the Muslim holy month. Aid agencies say international efforts to ramp up deliveries of humanitarian supplies by air and now by sea are not effective enough.
In parts of Gaza, Ramadan decorations and food are still available, but not at prices most people can afford.
There are no jobs left, no water and no electricity. People are selling their belongings to live, and Ramadan is very hard on us.
For most Palestinians, food to break Ramadan's daily fasting will be hard to come by.
We rarely eat, whether it is Ramadan or not. And we always remain hungry.
In Rafah, parents are getting creative to help children celebrate.
Ramadan is very different this year. We're not in our homes, we're in tents, but we insisted on putting up decorations and celebrating. We just pray that by the end of Ramadan, we'll be in our homes.
Others find the fighting between Hamas and Israeli forces too much to bear. Children reportedly injured in an Israeli bombing are rushed to the hospital in the central Gaza Strip. Ongoing Israeli airstrikes are taking a psychological toll.
We are tired, I swear. Please feel for us. Please, we want a ceasefire and an end to this. What do we have to say? We'd thank God for anything.
Without a ceasefire in time for Ramadan, and an Israeli ground assault into Rafah still a possibility, the suffering of ordinary Palestinians continues, without relief in sight.
Our correspondent Felix Tamsud in Jerusalem told me about Israeli concerns about security in the run-up to Ramadan.
Well, security forces here have been on high alert over the past 24 hours. Israel has been preparing itself for the holy month of Ramadan, which will start tomorrow, as confirmed by Saudi Arabia in recent hours. And I think what everyone's the day which everyone is worried about is mostly Friday. Having said that, given the fact that the Israeli government will allow Arabs and Muslims with an Israeli passport to go and pray without any restrictions, the Israeli authorities will hope that it would help. At the same time, it needs to be said that Hamas and other groups have been calling for unrest to take place. So I would say that security forces here in Jerusalem are indeed on high alert, and they're going to stay like that in the coming days at the very least.
Speaking of Hamas, what about the talks between them and Israel on a ceasefire?
Well, we can say that the Israeli intelligence, the Mossad, released a statement yesterday saying that Hamas are unwilling to reach an agreement when it comes to a new hostage deal, which would probably include a ceasefire to a certain extent. At the same time, we have Hamas officials saying that it's of their interest to reach such an agreement. What's clear to everyone is that such a ceasefire is very unlikely at this point, and developments are highly unlikely until the beginning of Ramadan tomorrow.
Meanwhile, U.S. President Joe Biden has criticized Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu again. What's Biden saying, and how's it going down with the Israelis?
Well, the rhetoric when it comes to the Biden administration has been intensifying when it comes to their critique, not necessarily of Israel as such, but of Netanyahu on a personal level. We had President Biden saying that Netanyahu is hurting Israel more than helping it. We had Vice President Harris saying that there needs to be a distinction between the Israeli government and the Israeli public. Just in the past hour, we've seen a response from Netanyahu saying showing that the Israeli public is behind his policies. But at the same time, you cannot ignore the fact that the rhetoric when it comes to the US administration has been going a certain way. And I think everyone in Israel is expecting it to follow this line in the coming days at the very least.
Okay. We'll have to leave it there. Felix Tamsut, thank you for that from Jerusalem.